best budget hoop shoes of 2023. Let's get it. In the 10th spot, we are starting off with the Giannis Immortality 3s. Yes, I know these aren't the Giannis Immortality 3s. Usually I have that given shoe in hand, but unfortunately, I may or may not have returned these shoes to Nike. The Immortality 3s originally retail for $90, but you can find them on discount for around $60 to $65. I think you can find them at like Finish Line, Dick's. Now, while these shoes aren't my favorite performance-wise, kind of why I returned them, they are by no means a bad hoop shoe. Firstly, the Giannis Immortality 3s actually had a pretty decent setup considering of how cheap it was. The cushion setup consisted of like this Renew foam that Nike uses. And again, it wasn't insanely good, but for a $65 hoop shoe, man, it was kind of cracked. And the upper actually felt really nice for a $65 shoe. Support was really phenomenal. Kept my foot in there. Really no complaints in regards to support or the upper. And then the traction was kind of the most mid part of the shoe in my opinion, so that's the only kind of iffy part. But one thing I will say is these would actually be a pretty cracked outdoor shoe, especially for 65 bucks. Let me know if you guys want a top 10 outdoor hoop shoes of 2023. But yeah, crazy cheap. I really couldn't make this list without putting the Giannis Immortality 3s on. Giannis Immortality 3s on it. But on to the next. Now, before I reveal the 9th spot, I know there are going to be quite a few people that are mad of my placement in this list with this shoe.
But remember, this is my personal opinion.
In the 9th spot, we have the Ja 1s. The Ja 1s originally retail for $110 before tax and shipping, of course. And from my research, there are none on sale. Pretty much the best price you're going to get is $110. But yeah, man, while this was probably one of the most loved new hoop shoes of this year, I don't hate on them, but I don't think they're as good as a lot of people are saying. In my opinion, again, decent hoop shoe. I'll get into the performance, but I think a lot of people are, as what the kids would say nowadays, glazing. Doing tricks on it maybe, doing jumping jacks on it, maybe even doing flips on it. But on a real note, they actually are a pretty decent hoop shoe. On clean courts, the traction held up really nice. No complaints in that department. The upper felt good lockdown. The only thing I would say is it did feel slightly cheap. And then just my least favorite part about this shoe, or my one gripe about this shoe, was just the cushion setup. I was not impressed. It felt really hard. But maybe I need to break in the shoe some more. Maybe I need to give it a little bit of a break. But yeah, man, 9th spot. Let me know how you feel about this placement. Do you think I'm being too harsh on them? Would you guys place these higher? Comment it down below. But I'm not changing the list, buddy. On to the next. In the 8th spot, we have my fellow Caucasian's second signature shoe, aka the Luka 2s. Now, the Luka 2s originally retail for $130, which is not much of a budget shoe if you ask me. But you can find them as low as $90 in a pretty solid amount of colorways, I think including this one, at retailers such as Dick's. Therefore, I would actually consider this a budget shoe. Now, performance-wise, I actually really liked the Luka 2s. I was also a fan of the Luka 1s, and I'm telling you, with this one, there were quite a few upgrades, the biggest of which I think is the cushion setup. These shoes feature a full-length Formula 23 foam, which is just like Jordan Brand's premium foam cushioning. And let me tell you, it feels amazing on foot. And on top of this, the shoe features this funky traction pattern that honestly I didn't know how it would perform, but through some use, I was pleasantly surprised with some grippy traction. And then on top of this, the premium upper, I think for $90, you're getting a really premium upper. That patent leather, a little bit of textile, mucho on that combo. But there are two things I am not necessarily a fan of with this shoe. The first of which is it is a little heavier in my opinion than the typical hoop shoe. Maybe I'm being a little judgmental. And then the materials on the upper, like this patented leather, excuse me. Bruh. But yeah, like I was saying, the patent leather on the upper and the textile is actually pretty thick too. In my opinion, it's not the most breathable shoe. The breathability is a little sketchy. So breathability and weight are the only two things I kind of dislike about the shoe. Everything else, wonderful, deserving of the 8 spot on this list. On to the next. In the 7 spot, we have the New Balance two-way V4s. While these shoes originally retail for $120, you can find them as cheap as $85 on New Balance's official website. Not sponsored, I wish it was. In regards to performance, I really rocked with these shoes. While I do not know if I like them as much as the previous model, the two-way V3s, I will say that I at least really like these. Firstly, something I was a big fan of with this shoe is the traction. Grippy traction. I was kind of sketchy at first because this traction setup looks kind of funky, but through some use, absolutely loved it. Very high quality upper that provided exceptional support, good breathability to my surprise, and just felt really good on the foot. And then something I also loved about this shoe was the cushion setup. I don't know what it was, but it was definitely an upgrade from the New Balance two-way V3s. But yeah, amazing shoe, only $85, easily deserving of the 7th spot on this list. On to the next. In the 6th spot, we have the JT1s. Now, the JT1s originally retail for $120, but you can find them as low as $100 at, I think, JD Sports and Dick's. Firstly, I just want to say that I am a huge fan of the looks on the JT1s. In hand, I have the pink lemonade colorway, which I think is one of the best. And then another colorway that I am a big fan of is the black and green colorway that, again, is currently available for only $100. Not sponsored. Now, in regards to performance, I actually really love this shoe, but there was one big thing that I was not so hot on. But before I kind of poop on the shoe, I'm not going to swear too much. I do want to tell you guys a few things that I absolutely loved about the JT1s. Traction, solid. It's that rubber / foam, grippy to the court. Upper, very breathable, very cute. Support, rather solid. It's got that full TPU unit right here, no complaints. But to what I don't like about the shoe, and that is the durability. Now, for those who don't know, the JT1's traction setup is made up of about 70–80% foam, which for those who don't know, foam is not that durable. With the very few times that I've actually used the JT1s, you can actually see there's some fraying right here on the forefoot, and I could already tell the durability long-term on these, if you use just like 1 or 2 hoop shoes, are not the best. So using these outdoors, I guarantee you they'd probably last about 2–3 days. Indoors, they would last a lot less time than a typical hoop shoe would with just solid rubber. So overall, love the shoe, but my only complaint is the durability. So, yeah, man. On to the next. In the 5 spot, we have the Sabrina ones. Now, the Sabrina ones originally retail for $130, but you can find them for just under $100 on Nike.com in some team colorways. Now, off rip, this shoe gets a lot of comparisons, both performance and looks-wise, to Kobe's, and let me tell you, for a reason. As a whole, this shoe just had phenomenal traction, good cushion, decent materials on the upper, a superb support system and lacing system. Just overall, man, a really solid shoe. I'm going to keep it simple and brief with this one. Love the shoe. On to the next. In the 4th spot, we have the Way of Wade Son of Flash. Now, these shoes originally retail for $125, but you can currently find them as low as $100 on, I want to say, kickscrew.com. Not sponsored. Like I mentioned in my previous video, my very favorite part about this shoe is easily the looks. Just the giant lightning bolt in that full chrome is kind of crazy, unique. And you know me, I like crazy, unique. One thing I do wish, though, is that Way of Wade would have released more colorways of the Son of Flash. Unfortunately, they only released a colorway in black, gray, and then white, and then proceeded to never release another colorway again, which is kind of a shame because this is crazy and fun and unique, and I love it. But yeah, enough yapping, onto the performance. To keep it short performance-wise, me likey. First off, that full-length boom cushioning setup, love it. I don't know what Way of Wade's boom cushioning is made up of, but when they throw that in a shoe, man, I'm just going to glaze it. I'm going to do tricks on it. Flips on it, even. On top of this, grippy, durable traction with that tough rubber that they use. Because if you don't know, crackwyd, Chinese-based company. In China, they play a lot of basketball outside. Therefore, they use crazy, crazy durable rubber that lasts a lot longer than typical basketball shoes. Simply explained. But let me stop yapping. Again, just a high-quality textile upper, a little bit of leather. Nothing to complain about. So yeah, man, great shoe, deserving of the 4 spot. On to the next. That's getting a lot hot in here, man. I need to strip down a little bit. In the 3 spot, we have the crackwyd Shadow 5s. Now, these shoes originally retail for $119, but since they just came out, $119 is the best you're gonna get, buddy. And some of you guys may be thinking at this point, $120? I thought this was supposed to be a budget hoop shoe list. Now, me personally, when I was making the criteria for this list, I cut it off at $120, and these meet that price point.
So sue me.
But my goodness, man, these hoop shoes, love them. First, let me just state the obvious. The looks on these hoop shoes, absurd. The colorway I have in hand is the Liberty colorway, kind of like the Statue of Liberty. And I kind of had to get these because I'm from New York.
Bacon, egg, and cheese. Bacon, egg, and cheese.
Sorry. But yeah, in my opinion, the best colorway out right now. There are the other colorways available. Again, in my opinion, best one out. They do have that Galaxy one that's kind of cool, but it reminds me of the Fortnite guys, so fun stuff. But yeah, let me stop yapping and actually talk about the performance because that's what really matters. The Shadow 5s feature absolutely absurd traction, a very supportive and high quality upper, especially at the price point of only $119. And oh my God, don't even get me started about that cushion.
Actually, let me start about that cushion.
This cushion is made up of that full length boom that you guys know I absolutely love, alongside a Cloud Plus midsole, kind of that double layered heaven on feet. If I had to describe it in 3 or 4 words, I would say,
I'm about to come.
So yeah, love this hoop shoe. If you want a pair, link in the description, go snag them. I might make a little something, but that doesn't play into account with the list, so. On to the next. In the 2 spot, we have what I believe is the best new signature shoe of 2023. And that hoop shoe is the Riggerer, with an R at the beginning, AR1s. Now, these shoes originally retail for $100, and $100 is just about the best you're going to get because they are a fairly new hoop shoe. Now, off rip, I do want to just talk about these looks. Me personally, very big fan of the looks on the AR1s. The colorway I have in hand is the Milky Way colorway. I personally think it's really, really clean, but they did just release a colorway. It's ice something. You can see them right there. Really, really clean. Something I will say, though, is the other colorways of the shoe. There are some I'm not too fond of. Maybe like that one. Now let's talk about the performance. Performance-wise, these things go absolutely absurd. Firstly, this funky-ass traction pattern. I didn't really know how it would perform, but to my surprise, super, super grippy. Additionally, just a really high quality upper considering the price of only $100. And it also features some cool technology like these bubbles in the tongue. I don't know if you guys could see it on camera, but long story short, it has these bubbles in this area to prevent the tension of the laces to hurting your feet like it does in some other basketball shoes. So premium technology, $100 hoop shoe. Can't complain. And then just alongside this lovely support, bouncy cushion setup. Overall, no complaints. Overall, amazing shoe. Low-key, I think this might be the most underrated shoe on the market. But let me stop glazing. On to the next. Now, before we hit that number 1 spot, I do want to talk about the few shoes that didn't make this list. The first 2 shoes that I want to mention are the AE1s and the Freak 5s. Both of these shoes are considered to be some of the best budget hoop shoes right now. But unfortunately, I don't have my hands on either of those, and I only wanted to put shoes in this list that I have actually been able to use and have in hand. So therefore, that's why those 2 shoes didn't make the list. But maybe I'll make a new version of this list soon enough, and I will get both of those shoes. So Apologies on that. And additionally, there are shoes on the market like the New Balance 2A V3s, Luka 1s, and Freak 4s that are on crazy discount right now for like 65, 50, 70 bucks that are all amazing options, but I wanted to only include shoes in this list that were released in 2023 and not released in like 22 or 21 and then still on discount this year. So just wanted to clarify a few things. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get on to mucho numero uno. In the number 1 spot, we have a shoe that's been compared to a modern day Kobe 8. Some people say this might be one of the best, if not the best hoop shoe of the year. And that shoe is the Way of Wade 808-3. Now, the Way of Wade 808-3s retail for only $120 and can be found in the first link in the description. But man, let me tell you, these were an absolute no-brainer for the number 1 spot. Like, first, let's just talk about the looks, man. Firstly, the colorway, the chemical reaction colorway that I have in hand is absolute fire. And then the looks have been compared to like a futuristic Kobe 8. And let me tell you, the comparisons to the Kobe 8 doesn't just stop there. It also goes through the performance. Speaking of performance, the performance on the shoe is absolutely absurd. Off rip, the shoe features this wavy / multi-directional traction pattern that, again, I didn't know how these would perform because I've never seen something like that before. But let me tell you, super grippy to the floor. Doesn't pick up dust that much. Overall, insane. On top of this, they have that TPU setup that helps both horizontally and vertically. And then just a quality upper that supplies some mucho support. But overall, man, between the specs, tech, and just feel of this shoe, I personally think it feels more like a $150 to $200 shoe and not a $120 shoe. So shout out to Way of Wade. But yeah, best budget hoop shoe of 2023 and one of the best hoop shoes of 2023, the Way of Wade 808-3. So yeah, man, that's the list. Let me know down below how you guys feel about my list, if there are any shoes that I left out, just any comments in general. Also, let me know if there are any other lists you guys would like me to do, like best guard shoes of 2023, best outdoor hoop shoes of 2023, or any other list ideas that you guys have. But I appreciate y'all for watching this far because not a lot of people do. If you could like, comment, subscribe, I would appreciate it. Stash Man is out.